What's up, y'all? It's your man, Stephen Bardo, coming at you with another edition of Bardo's Breakdown. I'm your host. And man, do I have a special guest today. Guys that are a little bit younger than me, if you see this young man, Schea Cotton, you know who I'm talking about. Schea, how's it going today, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining. For those that don't know, I can't imagine you being in basketball and not knowing who Schea Cotton is. But for those that don't, Schea is from the Long Beach, California area, was a high school phenom, and has gone on to do some great things. We'll get into all that. I want him to explain more of that himself. But Schea, talk to us about growing up in Long Beach. What were some of your first sports influences?
Started in the LA Harbor area, San Pedro by way of Long Beach. I started playing baseball from young. Had a talent. I was a right fielder. I could hit. A little wild as far as throwing the ball, so they put me in the outfield instead of the infield, and I had a lot of success with it early. Just got kind of bored after a while. Wasn't getting too much play in the outfield at that age, so I was looking, for something a little bit more engaging. Right around 11 years old, I would always play on the playground with a lot of my peers and stuff at the school near where I grew up, and I had a knack for the game. Just took the game of basketball serious, kind of put the baseball down, and just fell in love with it, man, from 11 years up all the way till I retired right around 30 years old. So I put some time in.
So I heard or saw an interview in preparation for this. You had an older brother that was pretty tough on you. What was his name, and what was that relationship like?
James Cotton Jr., yeah, he was kind of like the guy that set the table for me because he was 2.5 years older. So we never kind of went to school together. We never had the chance to play together. And I learned a lot, just being able to train and compete against older guys all the time. It took the fear factor out of it pretty quick. Mm-hmm. And, he just would teach me about things off the court and how to conduct myself as a professional and, to come early and stay late and just really develop that work ethic and, have a world of confidence when you get out there and play.
Schea, what was the point when you knew, was there a game, a tournament or something in your youth when you played and you said, you know what, I can be the man at this? When was that moment?
Man, I think I had a few of them, you know what I mean? But I think when I knew that I was on my way when I arrived is probably when I touched Sports Illustrated at 15, the summer of my freshman year. After all the publications, all the writers, all the exposure from ESPN and Street and Smith magazine back then, as you know, you're one of their line now. I know who you are, so I did my homework too. But I think that's when it really hit the fan because SI was like the bar for us. We didn't have social media, so at that point I knew I arrived and I'm on to something. I just got to keep pushing.
So man, what does that do to a teenager's head at 15 years old to be on the front of Sports Illustrated? I mean, most guys would lose their minds, but you didn't. Why not?
Good grounding at home. Mother and father's, from New Orleans, Louisiana. My father's from upstate, northern Louisiana. So they raised us old school values, and I still took the trash out and had to have that respect for your elders and things like that. And I was doing more of the seen and less heard type of thing off the court, but I was pretty animated when I played because I realized I had a gift and I worked really hard and I wanted to have fun out there. So that was my whole thing. Just I grew up watching the Fab Five and the UNLV running Rebels, so I had to play with some pizzazz.
There you go. I love it. Did your father play?
No, mother nor father. So my uncles played pro football. A couple played NFL and then obviously in college. But me and my brother were the only two in the family to hoop, and we're both of us lefties, the only two.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Big time advantage there. So
absolutely.
You play in high school, and I think you committed to Long Beach State early.
Correct.
And then you got out of that. What was the decision to come out of that early commitment?
Well, the reason for going was to play with my brother. My father was having some sickness issues, so financially we're hitting some hard times, and my brother stepped up, decided to go hardship. And I think that was my determining factor since we never had a chance to play together. That was my whole motivation. So when he left, I wanted to reevaluate my situation. And that's when I basically wrote a letter to the Cal State University of Long Beach and they granted the letter and opened my recruiting back up. Chose to go to UCLA.
Okay, now what happened there? Because there was something that I've read about, I've heard about, but I really want to get your take on it. What happened between the time that you decommitted from Long Beach State to the time that you were going to UCLA?
You asking me questions that's in this documentary that I need
Oh,
everybody.
okay. Well, no, just share with us what you can.
Yeah. Just in a nutshell, the test that I took and passed that was legal in my rights. I didn't do anything wrong. Was good for one school and wasn't accepted by the other. For whatever reason, when I got there, everything was fine. I was there with Barron and Earl Watson and Rico Hines, all those guys, my peers.
Ooh, some baller.
And we had a solid team. We probably would have won it that year, I think, if I'd have played on that team. I think they finished in the Elite Eight or something like that. Maybe the Sweet 16, but they got put out, and life changed drastically for me. I mean, that year right there was tough because I had to wind up leaving UCLA to go to the prep school. So, there's a lot of intangibles in my documentary that talks about those steps that led me to ultimately where I am today. But I think once that happened, it took me off course, and I was never able to get back on track. I just spent the rest of my life just kind of like on the road in a sense, never finding a home.
Okay, so when you left UCLA, where did you go?
I went to St. Thomas More in Oakdale, Connecticut for prep school.
Okay, and how did that experience go for you, Schea?
It went good for me. I mean, I was the leading scorer in the knapsack. ESPN came and did a special. We won a lot of games. I think we lost to MCI in our playoffs in the knapsack. Our whole starting five went D1. It's still today they have competitive teams year in and year out. My coach Jerry Quinn from Archbishop Malloy High School is still there. Mm-hmm. They run a great program for what it is. And at that point, I just wanted to go somewhere where I could showcase my ability, in the tri-state area where the media epicenter is, and just show people like, I could play. I wanted to get away from a lot of the negative energy in California at that time. Mm-hmm. And I think it was a good decision.
Schea, you seem to be a very conscientious man. Have you always been that way?
For the most part, man, growing up in LA, you got to stay on point. You from the Chi, or where you from?
Yeah, I'm visiting from Carbondale, but I'm adopted son of Chicago, so I know what you get going at.
Yeah. So you got to stay on point, man. But ultimately, I got a strong relationship with God, and I stay focused on the vibration and the attention in life.
Okay. So talk to us about your documentary that you've been working on. I've seen clips. I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but I want to tease a little bit. Randy Moss, Meta World Peace, Elton Brand, Steven Jackson, Baron Davis. I know I'm missing somebody. Oh,
Paul Pierce, Tyson Chandler.
Kevin Garnett.
Yep.
All these people are contributing to your documentary. Talk about the name and what the documentary, what people can expect from it.
Well, the title came from the way I played growing up, Manchild. They gave me that saying that I was like a man amongst boys at such a young age. They'd never seen anybody with that type of prowess, to approach the game with that type of intention, and to have that kind of success. So I guess the closest thing everybody compares me to will be LeBron today, from the way I played and the way he's playing now. It's a compliment to me to see these guys speaking up on my behalf after so many years of darkness, and I'm thankful for it. The thing I really look at now is just getting the product out. We want to get the documentary out so the world can see it, and let the fans decide, how they like it, how it's received. We've tested it in 2016 in the LA Film Festival, 4,200 films. They ranked the top 5, so we're pretty confident about the product once it gets out. It's just been very political and very controversial. It's been tough, man. I've been waiting 4 years to get a solid distribution opportunity. I think we're getting close.
So Schea, you said 4,200 movies and you guys were top 5?
Correct. In the LA Film Festival, which is Hollywood. So, we feel good about the product. It took probably about 1.5 years to complete the editing phase. I think the production till ending was about a 5-year period. My father passed in the process, so it's been very challenging and humbling at the same time, but we feel good about where we are. And I think the timing, unfortunately, with the coronavirus and stuff, with everybody having to be kind of quarantined to their homes,
Mm-hmm.
it gives us more of a platform right now where people can kind of zone in on it once it gets out. So, I'm just excited about it.
You should be, man, because the people who you have involved are outstanding and they sing your praises. I'm going to go back and I want to follow your progression from the prep school. Where did you go next?
After prep school, I did a letter of intent to go to NC State and ACC, and the NC2A was still kind of giving me a hard time. So that kind of fell through. Me and the coaching staff went our separate ways. So then I went home to the West, came back to Long Beach, and went to Long Beach City College, did a year there, tore up the JUCO circuit, and I think I averaged over 30 a game and like 9-10 rebounds. Our team went like 33-1, and I think we lost like in the state playoffs.
Okay.
And then I wound up signing with University of Alabama. I had opened my recruiting back up again. I had Syracuse, UConn, a bunch of schools, all the big schools all over again, and just trying to see what was the best fit for me. Alabama seemed like home for me at that time with Mark Godfrey being able to play in a power conference like the SEC. And I felt good. I felt like I was making the right decision. And basically, things didn't work out. At the end of the day, what I was told didn't happen, and I was already there. So it was like make the most of a bad situation. I did a year and then wound up leaving. My father got sick, and then I turned pro and did about 10 years on the road.
Okay, so where are some of the various stops that you were during your professional career?
I played in Venezuela. I played in Serbia. I played in China. I played in Italy. Played in Greece, Mexico. All the minor league circuits, stuff like that. So I've traveled the world through the game of basketball, but it was a slap in the face compared to what I thought I was coming into.
Oh, sure. And through all your travels and everything, was the love of the game still there, or were you a little bit frustrated based on the way that things had turned out?
Yeah, I think the love was fading. It was still there, but it was fading because then it became more of a financial thing. Where can I make the most money, from year in and year out? It's just trying to find a home. You know how it is as a former player. If we don't have comfort in our game, like it's gonna show. Like we got to be relaxed playing. You got to be confident. You can't play looking over your shoulder, not worrying game to game. Are they gonna cut me and send me home? And I see this contract on paper that looks good financially, but this coach is talking about if we lose, they're gonna start docking pay. I mean, that doesn't happen in the NBA, as you know. So
That's right.
it was tough internationally, but I grew up so much because you're forced to in these different cultures in these countries when you're by yourself.
And so, what was the best stop overseas was where and why?
Well, let me say this from a basketball standpoint, playing in the Euro League, which was the Super League at that time, playing in Eastern Europe and Yugoslavia, which is Serbia now, with KK Partizan. That was my best experience because that was the closest thing to the NBA for me at that time. And when I played well, and then I wouldn't play for 2 or 3 games. So it was like the weirdest thing at that time. I don't know if they were really ready for the American player in that part of the world, but met a lot of great people. The first month and a half was probably some of my toughest in my life because I was completely out of character, out of pocket. But I immersed myself in the experience and grew to love it. So I would say from a playing perspective, probably there. And then just like lifestyle and stuff like that, probably Venezuela, man, because the climate, the weather, the food, obviously the women are some of the most beautiful in the world. They win the world pageant every year. So
You got that right.
Yeah, aesthetically, I mean, everything was there. It was very pleasing from that aspect.
And what would you say was your worst stop overseas? Where did you not like where'd you like the least?
Probably China, man. At that time, I don't think they were progressive they are now. The living accommodation was not up to par compared to a lot of places I played. And I mean, I was on the team with Yao Ming before he came to the Rockets. So I was like, how do you have us in this barracks, basically where I was, and which was like rat infested. I'm like, this doesn't add up. And you guys want to pay me $20,000 a month? Why am I not in a hotel? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, yeah, just little stuff like that.
Okay. And then, so Schea, who was a player that you grew up idolizing?
As a pro, or just in general, or
just anybody. A pro
Uh,
or somebody in general?
well, I think in high school, my favorite player growing up in Southern Cal was watching Ed O'Bannon. I think he was tough, man. In high school,
Was.
college was like a precursor compared to what he did in high school. But I would say Ed um, in high school, and then at the pro level, my favorite player before the injuries was Ron Harper in Cleveland. Yeah, I really loved watching him. He was smooth. He had an arsenal move. He was a competitor, and he had a speech impediment at that time, so he let his game speak. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
everybody was a Jordan fan. I respected Jordan, but I was more of like a Ron Harper dude because I was trying to find somebody that everybody else wasn't talking about. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yes, sir.
And I read something somewhere where Jordan said Ron Harper was the toughest guy he had to guard because he had an arsenal of moves. Yeah, I can see that. So,
I love it. Who is the one player that gave you fits?
my toughest player I played against was probably Kobe Bryant, my
Oh,
sophomore summer.
okay.
But I was better than him that day too. So rest in peace. He did a lot of great things for the Lakers, and that probably was the hardest thing, watching him play for my home team and not getting a fair opportunity to get in.
Mm.
That was the toughest challenge for me in my career. Coming home, seeing the Lakers play, him getting the high praise, and then me just being like I guess the stepchild.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. I got you. Who was that guy that you grew up with on the playground that could wear everybody out, but didn't have the mentals or couldn't get their life together in order to move forward in the traditional basketball sense, let's say?
Um, well, I mean, a guy that I heard about, a lot of folklore, and the playground legend was Raymond Lewis
Okay.
from LA. And outside of Raymond, I'd have to say Joey Johnson. You familiar with that name?
Oh, man, Joey could jump out of the gym. I played
Yeah,
against him.
exactly. Jumping Joey. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. Dennis Johnson's little brother.
Exactly. He had Hobbs. We used to work out together when I was a kid. We used to train at the same boys club in San Pedro, and Joey would shoot downward jump shots, man. Banks. I said, man, I've never seen this in my life. This is unreal. I thought I was watching like some kind of superhero.
Yeah.
His athleticism was unreal. So he would probably be my childhood person. And I'd say Raymond Lewis, as I got older and started to get all the education on all the LA ball players, his name would constantly come up.
So, Shay, when you're in high school, you're getting all this accolation, all these accolades, and all this attention. Was it tough dealing with the ladies? I mean, was it kind of hard? Did you have to be the Heisman? Did you have to stiff arm a lot, or did you have someone special that you were with during high school time?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Was in a relationship at one point, and then there was time when I was alone too. And even in the relationship, you get propositions and stuff. I tried to keep it consistent as far as my routine. I had a time management chart. My mother and father kept me grounded. It was a tight-knit family situation. And growing up in the LA area at that time was a different time, so it wasn't no loose movement. I buried a lot of people from young, so I knew that I had to be smart about my whereabouts and what I'm wearing in certain areas and things like that, and don't just be out here lollygagging. So I was forced to grow up quick from a young age because of the basketball side and the life the way it was. So as far as the women, I don't think it was much of a distraction. It was just more like everywhere I went, people knew who I was when I walked into a gym. And I think it became hard as a kid, not knowing if people really liked you for who you were, or for who you are, or what you did.
Great point.
Yeah.
Great point. Man, I had something that was on the tip of my tongue and it just escaped me. But do you have a family? You said you have a daughter. How old is she now?
Yeah, my daughter Chloe's 11. Yeah, so I'm not with the mother, but yeah, she's an athlete too. Just hasn't figured out what she wants to do yet. So it'll be interesting to see what she chooses.
Now, does Chloe have any idea how good you were as a player?
She's been to a couple of the screenings, and I would like to think that she does, but these kids today, man, who knows? You know what I mean? These different kids, the social media and everything else got them sidetracked. So, my whole thing was I just wanted her to know that her father made his mark, and that means something in the world because we never know who we're going to need. If I entertain people and it gives her an opportunity in life to have more opportunities. And if she ever needs something, somebody's going to step up, then it was worth it. You know, I don't expect her to play basketball. I'm not pushing anything on her. I want her to do well in school and be a good person.
You know what? I remember what it was. You said you had a time management chart as a teenager. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Run it down for me.
It's in the Sports Illustrated article that they did on me when Brazil won the World Cup. And it's basically my day started around 5:30 a.m. And then it would end pretty much like around 8:30 or 9, depending on when I got out of practice and got home. But I wanted to chart everything so I could physically see what my day looks like day to day. It helped keep my focus and concentration with all the distractions of parasites and leeches, women, you know, the agents and stuff like that.
Did you come up with that on your own, or did you read about it, or did someone suggest that to you?
Yeah, it was like me and my parents, we came up with it because stuff started getting crazy. See, you got to remember, I was, you know, at that time, they were saying I was the biggest thing next to Magic in LA, even including all the college players. Right. So it's like, I'm running with Magic at UCLA in the men's gym at 15 years old on his team. Nobody played on his team but NBA guys. I'm like, okay, we're on to something. If the Magic man is calling me as soon as I walk in the gym saying, oh, I got Cotton, I'm like, I'm on my way, man. That sounds pretty good. The Magic man called me, you know, because I grew up watching him play. So I think that was the point when I was like, okay, yeah, it's starting to come together.
Okay. And are you cool? Who are like some of the guys that you remain in close contact with now?
To be honest with you, I became more of a recluse, man, over the years. So I kind of live in my own world, you know, and just keep a strong faith in God. I talk sometimes with Steven Jackson. I see Barron from time to time, you know, Paul, the LA guys, for the most part, and Meta in and around town because he lives in LA also. But a lot of the guys I've become estranged from just because of, you know, the way things went. You know, we just kind of lost touch, and I never really tried to recoup certain things. I just focused on, you know, kind of where my life was and what it's taken to get to where I need to go.
And then you also have a foundation that you're really passionate about. Can you share that with our viewers?
Correct. The foundation is named Manchild Elite Foundation, and it focuses on empowering the youth through education, sports, and health and wellness.
Well, Schea, I heard about you in doing my research. You were really impressive, but now in talking to you, you're even more impressive in person and over this Zoom situation. Much success to you, brother. I love your intelligence. I love your presence. And I think your foundation and your documentary are going to do great things. However I can help you, please reach out and let me know, because what you're doing, I think, is fantastic.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity, Stephen, and keep doing great work. I watch you on the Big Ten Network, too. So all the best to you guys, and stay safe. I
appreciate that. Now, where can people find information on you, Schea, and information on your documentary?
Go to the social media. My IG handle is @Schea Cotton, SCHEA COTTON. All updates for the documentary will be posted there soon, and people can peruse my page and just kind of see the body of work and what I'm up to these days.
All right, well said. This is Schea Cotton. LeBron James was imitating Schea Cotton before LeBron James came on the scene. So I just leave y'all with
right. That's right.
It wasn't look for LeBron. It was the other way around.
That's right. That's right.
This is the man right here, Schea Cotton. Thank you so much, brother, for joining. I appreciate it. That'll wrap up this edition of Bardo's Breakdown. Make sure you come back to the page every day. I told you we're going to have great interviews with guys like Schea Cotton, and we'll do our live show on Wednesday at 3 p.m. So make sure you come back to the page. Until next time, thank you so much, Schea. You guys have a great day. Be safe. Do the safety protocols and check in on your family. Until next time, peace.
Thanks a lot, bro.